Hey, good afternoon, and welcome to my presentation. This is the third part of my first chapter, Introduction to Accounting and Business presentation. In this segment of the video, I'm going to talk about a problem. I'm going to demonstrate, in fact, a problem relating to a business for a month. Now, remember, we did the elements of accounting equation in the first part of the chapter, and in the second chapter, I went ahead and showed you kind of how it is done. In this, I'm going to demonstrate so that you will be able to do it yourself. So this is the demonstration problem, and I'm going to complete that using a format that I have with me here. So as you can see, this is the format, and I have all the accounts lined up as such. You can see assets, there are cash, accounts receivable, supply, land, and liabilities, accounts payable. And then in the stockholders equity, I have common stock, retained earnings, dividend, revenue, and then a line of expenses. So depending upon what is given in your problem, that's how you develop. In this small column, I'm going to write the signage, whether it's increasing or decreasing, and in the amount, in the bigger columns, I'm going to write the amount. So now what we do is, let us start with the problem. Okay, so the problem as such is here Mattis Landscaper started his year with the following balances. You're given a balances for his business as on January 1st, and during the month of January he is engaged in certain transactions and events. So we are given that as well, and then we are asked, so the changes in the elements of the accounting equation with appropriate columns for assets, liabilities, and stockholders' equity. So let me go to the format and first put all the balances. So now in the balances, as you can see, we are given the balances in cash is 18,000, so I'm going to put that 18,000, and accounts receivable is 37,200, so I'm going to put that. Supplies is 2,800, so land is of course 30,000, and then accounts payable is 16,000, common stock is 24,000, and retained earnings is 48,000, and we don't have anything beyond that, so we're going to leave them blank. Now we take the first item here. It says made additional contributions to the business in exchange for common stock. Two accounts are being impacted. One is the common stock, and since the person is making additional contributions, of course that has to be in cash, so we'll be increasing the cash. So here we'll write plus 14,000, and the common stock also will be plus 14,000. So since the owner has contributed that money, we'll be putting it in cash, and of course the stockholders equity, that's the common stock. Now the rest of the transaction, only these two transactions will be impacted. So these are your new balances: 37,000 for cash and 38,000 for accounts receivable. For others, I'll just bring them as such. So this is 2,800 for supplies, 30,000 for land, 16,000 for accounts payable, and retained earnings is 48,000. So we are taken care of A. Now we're going to do the B. Purchase land for future use, paying cash. So I have paid cash 20,000 and I purchased land. So the two accounts that are involved is cash. Now what is happening to cash? Of course I'm paying it, so that is why it has gone down. So I'm going to write of course, minus and then 20,000 in the amount column. What is happening to land? Of course, since I bought the land balance will go up. So that's why it's going to be plus. So these are the two accounts that are impacted. 32,000 minus 20,000 is a new balance of cash is 12,000. This one remains accounts receivable at 37,200. Supplies remains as 2,800. This one went up from 30,000 to 50,000. And then this is remaining the same. I'm just bringing that down. This one also, of course, remaining the same. I'm just bringing it down. And retained earnings also, I'm just bringing it down. That's B. Let's take C. In C transaction, it says received cash for landscaping services provided. So you have received cash. So of course, cash will be increasing. And what about the landscaping services? So it is a revenue that I have earned. So that is why I'm going to take that to the landscaping revenue. Here you see that landscaping revenue. So the amount is going to be for C will be plus 12,850. And of course, here in the landscaping revenue as well, it is going to be plus 12,850. Now, cash will of course go up. So new balance will be 24,850. No change in accounts receivable. No change in supplies. No change in land. No change in accounts payable. No change in common stock. No change in retained earnings. And of course, landscaping will be 12,850 as the balance. Nothing beyond that. Now we go on to number D. I hope you're following with me. You can always pause the video and go over it as many times as you like. Number D is paid rent for office. So that is an expense. So I'm paying 2,400. So paid means you have used cash. So that's why it's going to be minus 2,400 in cash. And then I'm going to go all the way to my rent expense here and do minus again 2,400. Remember, expenses are all minus here. If you look at that at the top, revenue is plus, dividend is minus. So follow that pattern. So it will be the cash which is going to be impacted. So minus that 2,400 will be 22,450. Accounts receivable same amount. Supplies is same amount. Land is same amount, 50,000. Accounts payable 16,000. Common stock 38,000. Retained earnings 48,000. And then of course this is 12,800. And this is going to be of course minus 2,400. We have to show that as a parenthesis because it's a minus amount. Okay, or you may continue to do right here minus and then write the amount, but I would prefer write in the amount column and with a parenthesis would mean that's a negative amount. Number E, of course, is the next transaction. We are going to look at purchase supplies on account. So it impacts supplies on account means since I purchased that on credit, and if you purchase it, it is going to be accounts payable. So that is why if it is relating to creditors, it is accounts payable. If it is relating to customers, it is accounts receivable. So in this case, it is accounts payable. So what will happen is, in this case, supplies will go up with 1,000. So we're going to do E part. So this is plus 1,000. And then it says on credit, so this will be also plus and 1,000. Okay, so that's all that will happen. Now cash will remain at 22,450. 37,200 will be accounts receivable. Supplies will go up to 3,800 after this transaction. Land will be 50,000 and accounts payable will be 17,000. Common stock will be 38,000. Retained earnings is 48,000 and landscaping is 12,850 and rent expense of course will come down as minus 2,400. So that is how we will handle that number E. Let's go and see what is the next transaction. Next transaction is paid creditors. So paid means cash, creditors means accounts payable. So both will come down. So that will be paid creditors. So that will be minus uh, how much was the balance? How much was the amount? 9,120. So minus 9,120 and accounts payable will also be minus 9,120. 9,120. Remember to write in the amount column. Okay, so this will be minus that, so cash will be 13,350. No change in your accounts receivable balance, no change in your supplies balance, no change in your land balance. Yes, this will be changing. So 17,000 minus 9,120 will be 7,800. This will be no change in your common stock, and then no change in your retained earnings, no change in your landscaping revenue, and no change in your rent expense. So that is how we'll handle that. Now let's go on to number G. It says landscaping services provided to customers. So we have provided that to the customers. So therefore we have earned the revenue, but we have not received the money. So therefore it will be accounts receivable. So plus 33,900 here. And since this is a revenue, I have to go to the revenue column and write 33,900. Okay. So no change in the cash balance. So that's going to be 13,330. This will be 37 plus 33 will be 71,100. And then supplies will be same 3,800. Land will be 50,000. Accounts payable will be 7,880. Common stock 38,000. 38,000. And then retained earnings is 48,000. This one went up just now. So let's find out the new balance. That's 46,750. Rent expense same minus 2,400 as the balance. Okay, now the next thing is H. Let's see what it says. Incurred landscaping services. Incurred means I have not paid for it, so therefore it is going to be accounts payable. So that will be plus 11,880. Okay, 80 or 800 only it is. I think it is. Let's see, 800 or 880. 11,800. So that would be in the accounts payable and then landscaping expenses. So that will be also minus 11,800. So there'll be okay. So now the balance cash is same 13,330. Accounts receivable 71,100. Supplies 3,800. Land 50,000. This one just went up from 7,880 to 19,680. Common stock remains at 38. Its retained earnings at 48. Landscaping at 46,750. And this is a minus 11,880. This one remains the same. So that is the change. Now we go on to I, the next transaction. We have paid several kind of expenses: wages, machinery, utilities, and miscellaneous expense, total being 5,600. So we are paying 5,600, so that will be here minus 5,600. And then we are paying wages, so let's go to wages here, minus 3,000. And then next is your machinery expense, that was 1,000 minus 1,000. And then next was utilities, so that was minus 520. And the last utilities was 520 and miscellaneous was 1080. Okay, so your cash balance will decrease with that amount. So the new balance is 7,730. Accounts receivable will not change. Supplies will not change. Land will not change. Accounts payable will not change. Common stock will not change. And then landscaping will not change. Landscaping expense will also not change. This will be minus 3,000 because that's an expense. This will not change, minus 2,400. This will be minus 1,000. So we put it in parentheses, minus 520. And this is minus 1080. Okay, so that's taken care. Now we go on to the next item. Next item is cash received from customers on account. So I've received cash and from customers. Customers is accounts receivable. So when you receive money from customers, what should happen to their account? Yes, sometimes there is a confusion. When you receive money from customers, their accounts should go down. So that is why we'll be reducing the accounts receivable but increasing our cash because we are receiving the cash amount. So that will be plus 35,200 and minus 35,200. Other things remaining the same. So this will be 7,730 plus 35,200 will be 42,930, and this will be 71,100 minus 35,200 will be 35,900. And supplies will remain as 3,800. Land will remain 50,000. Accounts payable will remain at 19,680. Common stock will be 38,000. Retained earnings will be 48,000. 46,750 is the revenue, landscape revenue. Landscape expense is same 11,800 minus, and wages expense minus 3,000. Rent expense minus 2,400. Machinery minus 1,000. Utilities minus 520, miscellaneous 1080 minus amount. Okay, so that is your J item. K item of course will be, let's see, supplies used during the month is 1,440. Now remember, this is the used part. So if it is the used part, I'm good with it, because that is the amount I'm going to directly put it in supplies account and reduce it from supplies. Sometimes you're given a balance in the supplies instead of used part. If you're given that, then you'll have to subtract and find out how much was the used part. So in this case, we are given the used part. So I'm going to straight away go and use that amount in my supplies. So this is going to be minus, and the amount is 1440. And then of course I'm going to go all the way to supply expense and write minus 1440. So those are the changes. Cash balance remaining 42,930. Accounts receivable remaining 35,900. Supplies is now going down to 2,360. Remember, sometimes they would give you the 2,600 balance and tell you that's the balance. So if you're given the balance, you're supposed to take the difference between the two amounts and calculate that amount. But in this case, you are directly given the supply expense, so you're good with that. So that will be 50,000 land, 19,680 accounts payable, common stock is 38,000, retained earnings is 48,000, landscaping revenue is 46,750, landscaping expense is minus 11,800, wages minus 3,000, rent expense minus 2,400. This is going to be minus 1,440, and this is same as minus 1,000, minus 520, and minus 1,080. Okay. All right, now we are left with one last item to deal with. So that is cash dividends declared and paid is 4,800. So paid means cash is going out. So I'm going to write minus, and the amount is 4,800. I'm going to go all the way to dividend and say that as minus and 4,800. Now the dividend is subtracted because it reduces the stockholders' equity. Here it is subtracted because I'm paying cash. So the new balance is going to be 38,130 for cash. That's the final balance. In fact, accounts receivable is 35,900. Supplies will be 2,630. Land will be 50,000. Accounts payable will be 19,680. Common stock will be 38,000. 48,000 will be retained earnings, and this is going to be minus 4,800, and this is same 46,750. This is going to be 11,800. This is going to be 3,000. This is going to be minus 2,400. Supply expenses minus 1,440. Machinery expenses minus 1,000, minus 520, and minus 1,080. So that's your final balance. That is all you are asked to do. So supposing after these, if you were asked to prepare a financial statement, now you will start with the revenue in the income statement and take all the expenses and put them there. Calculate the net income. Then you would start with the retained earnings, add the net income that you have calculated here, and then subtract that dividends, and will get you the new balance in retained earnings. Then all these will go to the balance sheet, except retained earnings will get a new balance based on the net income and after subtracting the dividend. So that is how you do that. So thank you very much for listening to the presentation. I'll be working on the next demonstration problem, how to prepare the financial statements. Look out for that. Okay.